Hey everyone, it's Dominic, the Primetime Treasure Hunter. You know, Christmas is right around the corner, so that means there are a lot of people out there who are purchasing toys as gifts. Now, toys is an area that I specialize in addition to comic books, and so I'm processing lots of toy orders throughout the year, especially this time of year. And now more than ever, we want to make sure that the toys do not arrive damaged, or we are going to get a customer who is upset, and we are going to have boys and girls who are disappointed around Christmas time and wondering what the heck is going on over there in Santa's workshop. So we do not want that to happen at all. We want to protect Santa Claus's reputation as being able to deliver toys that are not damaged. So how do we go about doing that? Well, it really comes down to proper packing. Now, don't get me wrong. There are situations where the postal employee could go rogue and could really just do something egregious to your package and it results in damage. But there are lots of things that you could do to safely protect it against what I would call the reasonable wear and tear that's going to occur when your package gets shipped. And so the farther it goes, the greater the likelihood that something's going to happen to it along the way. You have to figure that at a basic level, people have to carry it, okay? And when they carry it, they're using their hands. They might press inwards on the box, and so that could cause some pressure in there, as well as people will sometimes stack things on top of the boxes, so that could cause some inward dipping, and you've got to, kind of factor that in as well. So you got to make sure it's adequately protected. Sometimes people are throwing the boxes and tossing the boxes and stuff like that. There's been some people even just, kicking the boxes around just to move them. So you've got to kind of figure that some of that kind of stuff is going to happen, and how could you safely protect it. Now, a common type of toy that gets shipped out a lot is action figures or other types of toys that are protected by pretty much a pretty thin layer of plastic and surrounded by cardboard. And so here's like an example of it right here. It doesn't matter what type of toy it is. There's tons of them look like this. They just have basically, a card of cardboard here on the back, and then right there there's like a little capsule of pretty thin, usually plastic, and that contains the action figure inside of it. I mean, there's different sizes and structures that these toys take, but this is very common. Now, the problem is that if these get crushed, and a lot of people collect them, it's going to lose its collectability value. So when plastic gets crushed inwards, it gets a white streak on it, and it pretty much loses its collectability. In addition, you can have these areas bend inwards, and it really could result in a lot of damage and crushing and creases. We don't want that type of stuff to occur. So one common mistake people will make is they will just take the toy like this, and they will just toss it in the box and think that that's fine. That's not fine. Can't do that. You do have to at least put a thin layer of bubble wrap around it, and that should be sufficient. Obviously, there's thicker layers, but a thin layer should do just fine for a toy like this. But now the next step comes to putting it in the box. And the next major mistake that a lot of people make when they are shipping out toys is they will not leave enough margin around the toy. So they'll take a box like this, and notice, yes, this is an Amazon box, and you can use Amazon boxes when you are shipping them out. Someone might put it in like this, and you'll see when I put it in that it doesn't really totally go in right without me having to push and really struggle. And if you're getting that type of resistance and it's barely fitting, that's a problem. You can't really tell well from here, but trust me, it's not laying flat on the base. And even if it were, it's flush right up against the sides there, and that's a problem. You want to have some margin around it. Now, there's a little bit of a margin right there, but there's not any on the sides. I mean, it is flush against it. And you've got to think, this is really important. Think, what is going to happen to my package when it goes out? So if I put it in like this and a postal carrier takes it and pushes it inwards, what is going to happen to my toy? My toy doesn't have anywhere to go, and so it's going to get damaged. So we've got to prevent that. Now, let's say this is the only type of box you have around. What are you going to do? Well, what you could do in this situation is something I want to share with you called the tilt technique. Now, I made that term up. I mean, someone else might have talked about it in some other video. I don't know. But this is what I call it. And so rather than putting it down like this, which is going to almost certainly result in your toy getting damaged, what you could do, keep it in the same box, but what you'll do now, instead of laying it flat, you're going to tilt it on a diagonal. And so that is going to give us enough space, and I'll show you how. So what we're going to do is we are going to surround this with different types of fill. So right along the back here, what we're going to do, we're going to put in some thicker air cushions. Now these air cushions come in different sizes, but this is a square type right here, and I'm just going to take one, I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to take a second one and put it right here, and I'm going to take a third one and I'm going to put it right there. So now I've got 3 air cushions there, and I'm just going to push this toy back against it. So now the toy is pressed up against the air cushions, and it is not pressed up against the box, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some fill over here as well. And what you could do for that is you could, you could take some of the thicker air cushions if you want, but for this situation, these thinner ones seem to fit this box a little bit better. So I'm just going to put them in like this, just like so you can see it. So now I have some air cushions on both sides. So now I have my sides cushioned a bit. But this is not enough because we also need to have a little cushioning here, and we need to have a little cushioning over on this side as well, because you have to envision also the box get pushed in this way. So to do that, it really depends on how much space you have there. I mean, you could use air cushions, but as you can tell, this space is not big enough for me to put an air cushion along this side. So what am I going to use? Well, that's why I like to cut up pieces of bubble wrap. So it's important when you buy bubble wrap that you buy the type that when you cut it, the bubbles still stay intact, because this comes from a bigger square sheet. There's some types of bubble wrap out there that once you cut it, all the air comes out of it, and that's not good, because you want to be able to customize it for situations like this. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to put it flush against this side here. So now I have this side as additional protection, and I'm going to take this piece right here and I'm going to just put it right against the other side here. So now what I have in effect is all of the sides are now protected by the cushioning. Now what you have to make sure as well is that when you fold the flaps down, that you're not going to have damage from that either, because if we push this, if I were to just tape it up like this and send it out, this is going to dip down, you see that, and what's going to happen is my toy is going to get damaged. So we need to protect this in another way, and we want to make sure we're protecting it in a way so that if we can, we still get it to go out first class shipping. So that's why you have to be creative with these things, because you got to make sure you're adequately protecting it yet not adding a ton of weight. So what I suggest doing in this situation, and I'm just going to grab a couple other air savers here, because I have a little bit more of a fill gap here that I want to put in. So now I feel a little more comfortable. I've got some more fill right there. Okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay it. This is just some thicker bubble wrap. I'm going to lay it right across the top here like this. I always feel like when I'm doing this that I'm doing like one of those cooking shows on TV, but that's kind of what it's like. You got to prepare for these videos. So anyway, so that's now layered up top. Now, is that good enough? Maybe, but I would tell you to take one extra step, and this is a little trick that I learned along the way, because still, you could still get a little bit of a give with the bubbles, and it could still push down and crush it. So one of the ways that I have found to protect against that is, and cardboard, remember, cardboard comes in different shapes and sizes and different thickness levels, but just take a thin layer of cardboard like this, cut it to size, and just put it flush right here, okay? Just fit it there so it's nice and customized. So then, when you close your flaps like this, now it's not going to push inwards, and now you've protected it, okay? So let's put some tape over it. I like to make sure that for something like this, that make sure you have this pressed tight again so it's not, so there's not a gap there. You want it to be nice and tight so that it's nice, it keeps it nice and snug. So I'm just going to tape it right here, push it down like this. I like to tape the sides down too, especially for something like this where I don't want there to be any problem. Put it right here. I'm going to put this side here. And by the way, another little trick. See right here, this is kind of sticking out a little bit. What I like to do is just push that in like this a little bit, and that will, there you go. That goes in, and now that provides a little bit of extra protection because it's pushed in, not hanging out. And so that makes it more solid, makes it more sturdy. And then for just a little extra protection, I like to take a little piece for something like this and bring it right across the top. So now we are all set with this. That's how you protect this box properly so that it doesn't get damaged. Now we're not going to have a problem. So that is the tilt technique. Wanted to make sure that you're aware of it so that you could use it as an option going forwards if this kind of thing ever happens to you. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, pass it on to others, share it to other people who you know who are selling toys, or if you're just getting into toys, make sure you keep this as an idea going forwards. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're on the chase to 2,000 subscribers. Crazy, I can't believe it. This channel isn't even a year old yet and we almost have 2,000 people. So help me towards that goal. Subscribe to the channel. Again, let other people know about it. Come to my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. We just had an amazing seller supporting seller-thon over the last 3 days. It's wrapping up in a few hours, where we created hundreds of dollars worth of sales for the people who are part of the group. There's almost 5,000 people there. It's such an awesome supportive group. I'm so proud of everyone that's in there, and it's just such a great place to be. So if you are not there, you need to be, so make sure that you come by. And also follow me on Instagram. That's at prime_time_treasure. So hope you have continuous great sales over the next few weeks, and I'll see you all at the next video, everyone.